we've been casting quite a lot of MaNa recently, and MaNa has like a really quirky way of playing PvZ. I don't think he's always been like this, but he's been like pretty cheesy recently. Like he's been very aggressive with his openers, and I'm pretty excited for this. As here we go, game number 1 is going to be taking place on Dragon Scales, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the German Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Polish Protoss player representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. I see the chat. Age is a big number, and 30 is a big one, Bobby. Is a big one. Is there a King of the Hill this week? There's a King of the Hill every week, but I believe Wardy is casting it. Basically, the way that OSC King of the Hill works is that if Wardy is ever not available, like if he's ever casting on other tournaments, or if he's maybe traveling because of DreamHack or something like that, that's typically when we're able to cast OSC King of the Hill. But basically, Wardy has dibs on that event, and I believe he's been casting it these past couple of weeks. Oh, so yes, OSC King of the Hill is going on, but I don't believe it won't be on this channel. It won't be on the CranKy Ducklings. Oh, as we are getting into this hatch gas pool from Lambo. Forced to take his unnatural natural. No 15 hatch or 14 hatch from Lambo, just a 16 hatch instead. So a decent start here for MaNa, just forcing the opener to be a little bit more unusual and uncomfortable for his opponent. Meanwhile, across the map, pretty standard opener. Gate expand setup from MaNa as well. So when it comes to the openers, nothing's too crazy here at the very start of the game. But we have been seeing MaNa mix things up a lot to go for DT openers or robo into disruptor drops as well. MaNa has been very creative. We've been casting a lot of MaNa, say against players like Rainer, against even some of the Koreans like Solar and Dark. So yeah, what does MaNa have in store for Lambo, and will Lambo be able to scout and react? I think we are all aware that Lambo is a very smart player. He's very methodical. He's very by the book, and as long as he is able to scout what his opponent is doing, he usually has like a prepared reaction for that. It's all about whether he can, get an eye on what exactly is going on. As MaNa is going for a Stargate opener. Okay. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. Everyone else is so serious. I mean, that's a pro and con, right? It depends. Like, I think my solo casts are a little bit more. What's the word? There's a word that I was thinking of. I don't know, bland. Straight laced. Is that a term? High color? Not high color. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more serious. Like I try to make things entertaining when I can. It's when I have a co-caster when things get rowdy, like with Yaku or with Asher. Oh, things get out of hand. As the first two adepts do slip into the main base, and so far good reaction out of Lambo. Does pull back his workers in time. Oh, good target firing by Lambo as well. He does focus on one of those adepts. Now suddenly we don't have that one-shot potential. Oh my god, as I assumed that at least one adept would survive, but no, the second adept is going to be hunted down as well. A big loss there from MaNa. MaNa, he didn't get any damage at all. He traded his adepts for links instead of for drones. Not a good start here for our Polish Protoss player. Behind this, we have our Oracle moving out. Ideally, we want to be hitting with the Oracle and the Adepts around the same time to, like, pull apart the attention of the Zerg player. We do get one drone, but Lambo does protect his mineral line. At the same time, we have a link counterattack. Because the Adepts died early, we have less to defend back at home. There's only one Adept in position. It looks like it's going to be able to keep this third base up and running. Oracle gets here in time as well, but Lambo did get one probe. And MaNa is going for a risky move. Is leaving their third base very exposed. He's going to be moving out with everything he has. The Adepts, the Oracles. The pressure is on MaNa to do some counter damage of some kind. Gets 2 drones in the run by, which is nice. It looks like these Oracles are going to be able to recall in time. The Adepts didn't quite commit to the shade. In total, 4 drones for those 2 Adepts. Better here from MaNa, definitely better. At least he keeps these Oracles alive. Behind this, we have the most standard follow-up as well from MaNa. We have a Forge, a Twilight Council, Blink on the way, as well as the Gateway Explosion. So it is going to be a triple Oracle into Blink Stalker opener. And as we can see that this time, because it's a Forge, unlikely for this to go into a 7 or 8 gate all-in like we saw from Night Phoenix. MaNa is going to be looking for a bit of a later timing and a bit of a later game overall. And with that, with this map presence that he has, he's going to be able to at least deny this 4th base. Going to be able to force a cancel as well. The Queens are not quite in position. Very nicely done here by MaNa. Just keeping Lambo on a 3-base economy. Having your 4th base delayed like this is pretty impactful, to be honest. And if MaNa's able to do that again, we can see him rotating over towards the right-hand side, then he's going to be looking in a really good position coming into the mid-game. Until such a time, we have +1 melee on the way. So likewise, as MaNa is having one of the more standard openers, same can be said for Lambo. As the Lings, they get here just in time. They're looking to force a cancel on the 4th. They just barely do. They don't just cancel the 4th. The Oracles were actually in the midst of heading over to this 4th base location of Lambo, so he does force MaNa back home. Lambo gives himself the breathing room to actually get this 4th base up and running. Behind this, we're going into a Spire? Ay. Okay. We're going to be looking to get into Mutas. Lambo looking to have some fun here. That's something we don't really get to see too often in this matchup. Especially against Blink Stalkers. Lings threatening a counterattack. Once again, they force MaNa to turn back around. Ooh, there's no shield battery. The cannon is exposed. A lot of probes are going down as well. Good hold position micro here from Lambo. 4 probes did go down. At the same time, Lings are heading for that 4th base as well. +1 melee is now done. MaNa out of position once again. Once again, no shield battery is done here either. The 4th base will survive, but we did lose pylons. We lost some stalkers. A good trade overall for Lambo. And again, this is all just keeping MaNa busy, keeping him back at home while we do bank up gas, bank up minerals for that Spire so we can make a massive wave of mutas. There we go, the Spire is done. The Spire is also unscattered. You know what's crazy? These Oracles haven't been doing too much. Like, they have so much energy to work with. We now have a Revelation. But even though we have 3 Oracles, no scouting. There's been very little scouting here from MaNa. He hasn't been able to get an eye on the 4th base. He hasn't seen that it is not saturated. He hasn't seen the tech. He hasn't seen anything. He's just been so busy defending. Meanwhile, the wall is not a wall. Okay, wicked. The wall was not a wall, but Lambo does back off in the end. MaNa's able to hold on for the time being, but the mutas are on the way. 10 mutas in total. Those mutas that are going to be able to just shut down whatever's in the sky, like, say, this prism, but they can also sip into mineral lines as well. We'll see what he goes for. Oracle slipping in towards the main base. The prism dives... Sorry, the Oracle slipping in towards the 3rd. The prism dives into the main. But the mutas don't care. The mutas don't care. It takes... We have 10 mutas, more than enough to one-shot probes as they fall in the natural, in the main base. We have Lings and Bailings rolling into the 3rd base as well. MaNa does react in time. He does pull away his workers from said Bailings. But Lambo is looking to hunt them down. At the same time, it looks like MaNa's trying to go for a bit of a counterattack, but we have plenty of roaches back at home to defend. Lambo isn't going to take any losses. And MaNa loses 9 workers. Not as many as I would have thought. The prism is going to be hunted down. I did assume that MaNa would maybe be losing a little bit more, so shout out to MaNa's overall defenses. Like, he's able to hold on to his 4 bases. Has a decent worker count. What's the army looking like? We've got Archons, we've got an Immortal. One Immortal, I don't know if that's really going to be enough. What's interesting here is that Lambo is doubling down, by the way. He's working on +1 air attack. We have +1 air attack. We're continuing muta production as well. We're up to 15. And I think we want more. 15 mutas can contest against small amounts of stalkers. The Ling Roach Ravager army getting ready for another assault. He wants to try to force MaNa to overreact. Stalkers, though, are in position. Lambo is forced back. We have Bailings rolling into the 4th base. We have the main army threatening that 3rd. Stasis Trap does go off. MaNa, he's holding on. Lambo has maxed, but MaNa is in a pretty good defensive position. I mean, we have Stasis Traps, we have Archons, we have Shield Batteries, and here we go. We're diving on top of this army. Overcharge is popped, and Lambo has to respect it. He has to back off. His main army does fall back. The mutas dive into the main. As Lambo's going to be focusing his attention here at the 3rd base. He gets 1, he gets 2 Archons for free. Muta's still wreaking havoc in the main base. The Bailings are rolling on in. This time there's no reaction. Ah! We reacted a little bit too late. The mineral line goes down. Ah! And the mutas still have not been dealt with. Oh my god. that was a lot more workers going down. I want to say around 13. Around 13 probes fall there for MaNa. As Lambo remaxes. At this point, we're done with the mutas. They've served their purpose. They have been creating these openers and forcing MaNa to split up his army. And that means that Lambo can focus now on Ling Bane Roach Ravager. And MaNa doesn't really have the best army to contest against this. He doesn't have any splash damage, no disruptors, no colossi. It looks like MaNa has recognized this and he's going to be taking into Storm. I think Storm can do really well. The problem is that Storm just now started and Lambo's already remaxed. Like, Lambo, he's looking to push in once again. He's not going to wait for you to get Storm. It's going to be on MaNa to try and survive that long. Stellar Rumbai is going to be pulling back the attention of Lambo. MaNa also now is aware of the army positioning of his opponent. We have Stasis Traps being set up. Decent trap, but they both do get triggered here by the Ling Bane. And we still have so much more left over. And here we go, Lambo. He wants to collapse on this army. We do have the Bailings rolling on in, and Stalker's doing well for themselves, but they get into the mineral line. They get in. Every probe goes down. Battles rain down on the army as well. It looks like the Nexus will fall. And from here, Lambo just has to back off and rebuild. We have a Storm on the Roaches, but the Storm, they merely tickle the Roaches. And MaNa is forced all in. He's lost his bases. He's lost a lot of his economy. He has to counterattack. But really, he's playing into Lambo's hands. A lot of really good Storms, to be fair. Like, hey, like, we are tickling these Roaches to death. They're dying. They are slowly dying. Oh, but the Bailings, no! The Bailings, they finish up just in time. The Zealots go down, and now Lambo just has to wait for his reinforcements, wait for another wave of Lings, another wave of Roaches. Oh, God. Those poor Zealots, not like this. Boys are being pulled. We can see Lambo, he can afford to lose some workers. All he has to do is defend. All he has to do is hold on. The Archons and the Immortals are doing quite well for themselves. To be fair, Lambo, he loses his mineral line. We're slowly breaking through these Roaches. We still have 2 Immortals left behind this. The Biles! They take down the Prism. They do not cancel the Warp in. MaNa is breaking into the natural base, but the Bailings, they come in from behind. Just move commanding over the army, and MaNa has run out of steam. That was it. He was all in. He had to end the game with that army. He's micring his heart out with this one Phoenix. But even that falls. And this is all we have left. We have some High Templar. We're about to have Storm. Where... yeah, we have a decent economy. We were able to kill a lot of workers of Lambo, to be fair. But Lambo has so much map control right now. It has an army. Setting up a baneling run by here on the right-hand side. We still have mutas left over as well. I don't know how. Good stasis trap does go off, but this is the most important mining base for MaNa. He cannot afford to lose it. It's his way back into this game. The banelings do threaten the mineral line. Speaking of threatening the mineral line, likewise the third base is looking a little bit compromised as well. A lot of Ling Bane Roach Ravager waiting to roll in. Oh no! We storm our own mineral line! Oh god! The storm killed more probes than the Lings. Not like this. Not like this, papi. Mutas harassing the main, harassing the natural. The run bys, they don't stop. And yeah, MaNa, he's pulling a bit of a, bit of a Terran. He's fueled by copium right now. The most powerful of all things to be fueled by, to be fair. There's a lot of power in copium, but alas, it doesn't help you win games. GG gets called, and Lambo will take game number 1. Oh, GG. Did feel like Lambo did have a bit of a stronger start to the game overall. Had the freedom to get into Aspire, get into mutas completely unscouted, and it felt like MaNa was on the back foot for the most part. Towards the end, when he did push out, like, he had a bit of a moment there where he was able to do some counter damage, don't get us wrong, but that was really the only moment where MaNa had any kind of map presence at all and that he could ever assert himself. And really it was only because he was all in, basically. Like, he lost the base, he lost the mineral line, he had to do damage then and there. And he did some, just not enough. Not enough. GG. GG, well played. Pretty strong showing from Lambo, and we'll see how things unfold here in game 2. We're going to be loading into our second game, and it's going to be taking place on Gressvan. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. I'm catching up in the chats. It wasn't cast on ESL A or B stream. I had wanted to watch it live. We were live on our channel. We were live casting on the CranKy Ducklings. Oh, not these matches, but the rest of the open stage. The open stage was casted here live over the weekend. So if you want to tune into those matches, we do have those VODs. Do have them available. As sporting in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressvan, we have the German Zerg player leading the series 1-0, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have representing Team Liquid down in this series, but not out. It is MaNa. We mentioned it earlier, but unfortunately, there weren't a lot of casters covering the group stage on that day. It was us and Renegade, which meant that so many games were not casted. That's the reality of it. Like, I would have loved to have casted even more, multiple games at once. But again, everything was happening at the same time, and at the time when covering it live, we could only pick and choose one series at a time. So much went went without being broadcasted. And yeah, that's why we're doing these replay casts. That's why the replays have been made available to the public, and we are trying to basically catch up and bring all these games to the people, to the viewers. Otherwise, no one would see them. No one would see them unless you specifically went out of your way to download the replays yourself and go over the games. Which is a bit of a shame. It's a shame. But yeah, there were just so many players in the open bracket. Players like You know, MaNa, Lambo, Hearthstone, DRG, Hero, Nightmare. Ah, so many, so many. And yeah, we'll see how this all does unfold. For the time being, once again, hatch gas pool. Lambo is forced to take the unnatural natural, very similar to game number 1. Very similar. Ooh. And we'll see if we kind of head in that same direction. I was talking earlier about how MaNa has a lot of versatility with his play, how he can be a little bit cheeky, and I do expect him to mix things up in this series. But for now, it is another Stargate opener. Okay. Fair enough. Last game, everything was pretty normal for MaNa. He went for a Stargate opener into triple Oracle, into +1 Blink Stalkers, but because of the constant Ling aggression from Lambo, MaNa just wasn't able to, move out on the map at all, really, outside of his Oracle harass. And even with his Oracles, he wasn't able to scout the tech switch of Lambo. He wasn't able to scout the Spire. So we'll see how MaNa will adjust in game 2 and how he's able to face off here against Lambo. We shall see. Second Adept is moving out across the map. If you remember as well in that first game, MaNa had a really hard time dealing any economic damage with these Adepts. Got very little. He actually got 0. He got 0 drones with his first 2 Adepts. So this time he's going to be looking to try and make up for that. As the Adepts do threaten these bases, they do shade away, but Lambo is hot on their tails, is going to be setting up a surround, and the shade is late. The Adepts do go down once again, getting 0 damage. Oh my god. At least in game 1, they traded against Lings. They killed like 6 Lings. This time, they only got 1. Aye. The Lings, they go for a counterattack, and the Oracle is here to defend, so the third base is safe, but this also means that the first Oracle has to stay at home. Oh, and is out of energy. So, a pretty disastrous start here for MaNa. No scouting information, no harassing damage at all. Lambo has so much time to drone. We've got 3 queens here at the third base. We're getting a Spore in the main. Evo Chamber for +1 melee. Spore here at the natural. Lambo's going to be feeling pretty comfortable right now. Behind this, it is going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge, so just like the last game, standard follow-up, triple Oracle into +1, into Blink. As finally the Oracle can move out across the map, but the Queens are in position. Again, we didn't skip out on the Spore either. Lambo is safe and sound. And we do have that +1 melee. Again, this is a very common opener here from the Zerg player. This is a pretty early Baneling Nest, though. Very curious if we have anything planned for that. As Lambo slips into the main base, does scout and confirm, the saturation here, or the lack of saturation at the third base. And MaNa's actually making a Phoenix. Very interesting. The Phoenix will be helping to keep Lambo in the dark. It will be shutting down a lot of these Oracles. Sorry, Overlords. No, we actually do cancel the Phoenix in the end. Okay. Interesting move here from MaNa. Yeah, if he was just showing off that Phoenix, maybe forcing a reaction out of his opponents. Of course, he doesn't commit to the Phoenix. Meanwhile, the Adepts once again do go down. Oracles dive into the third base. They get 2 drone kills. Ooh, we even get a stasis trap in the main. So we get some damage. At least the Oracles do survive. At least MaNa does keep them alive. As he is making a 4th Oracle. Okay, let's go. We are continuing Oracle production, and this can be dangerous. This can do a lot. As before that happens, there's no shield battery. The probes are under threat. The whole position. Oh my god. I'm afraid to look, but a lot of probes are going down. The Oracles do finally come back home to defend. Oh, okay, I say a lot. 3. Or 2 even. 2 probes. Lost mining time. I was worried that was going to be worse than it was. MaNa, can we throw down the shield battery? I would appreciate a shield battery here, not going to lie. As Lambo behind this isn't going for a Spire, is going for a Hydra Den. So Lingbane Hydra is going to be the composition of choice here for Lambo. This works very well against specifically Oracle Stalker. Lings do well against Stalkers, the Hydras do well against the Oracles. Together, they do well in general. They can struggle more against something like Charged Archon, and there is a moment when the Protoss player gets splash damage like Colossi, where the Zerg player can struggle. We saw that earlier today with Night Phoenix versus Sordo, where Night Phoenix was able to hit a timing with 3 or 4 Colossi, a bit of a power spike with their army. But it looks like MaNa isn't taking in that direction. We're going for a Templar Archives instead of the Robotic Spade. Meanwhile, as MaNa pushes out onto creep, Lambo goes for a counterattack. Plus on melee is done. We're going to be focusing down the Nexus. There is no shield battery, there's no overcharge, and it looks like Lambo won't commit. Did a lot of damage to the Nexus, but he doesn't want to throw away his Lings. Oh, will keep them alive. As MaNa is going to be incorporating some Archons, which will help against these Lings, definitely. They're going to be a nice addition here to the army of MaNa. They struggle a little bit more against Hydras, as we do see a massive surround coming in. The Stalkers, they're going to be going down. We're forced to recall. 1, 2, 3 Stalkers get picked off. Oof. A rough loss there for MaNa. And Lambo, he's got the momentum. He's morphing in Banelings across the map. Still no shield battery here at... Oh, do we have any shield batteries? Okay, we have one at the third. Ay, ay, ay. We do have one at the third base, so here we go. The Hydras are rocking on up. The Archons have revealed themselves, but the Lings are looking for those surrounds. And they will get them. Archon goes down for free. The Banelings are rolling on past the army into that mineral line. And there's nowhere to run. The Banelings, they crash with everything there is. The mineral line will go down. Hydras push on forward. They try to focus on the prism, but it's not going to be enough. Lambo has too much. GG gets called, and Lambo will take the 2-0. GG. Ay, ay, ay. This entire series, I'm very impressed. Lambo, it felt like he was in full control here. MaNa, from the very beginning, whether it was his Adepts, his Oracles, later his Stalkers, he was just never allowed anywhere near the bases of Lambo. Like, Lambo was so proactive with his Lings, and at every turn, if the army ever showed itself, like at one half of the map, Lambo would counterattack, hit the third base, hit the fourth base, force MaNa to turn back around time and time again. MaNa was just never able to, just like in game number 1, MaNa was just never able to really be aggressive, really be assertive. He was just stuck defending, despite the fact that he didn't want to. Like, he wanted to be active on the map, he just couldn't. Lambo wasn't letting him. Oh, GG. GG, well played. A very solid, a very dominant performance there from Lambo, as he does take the series 2-0, and he, from here, advanced on into a qualifying match. Wow. Damn. And with that, we're done. It's I guess it's a little bit of a weird way to end this, because there is a qualifying match after this, where Lambo went up against Hearthstone. Lambo did go up against Hearthstone, but we already casted it. Like, we already casted it on this channel. We've already covered it. It was something that we were able to cover live. Again, Hearthstone looked so good. He looked so good at the event, and if you haven't tuned into Lambo versus Hearthstone, or specifically Hearthstone versus DRG. Oh god, Hearthstone versus DRG was such a good series. They even had a rematch as well. They had a rematch, so I highly recommend checking out those series. They did face off twice in this group, in Group A. Meanwhile, Lambo also went up against Hearthstone as well. So if you're interested in PvZ, I definitely do recommend watching the VOD for those. And yeah, with that, we've now covered all of Group A, and I'm pretty happy we did. I was very satisfied with watching Starnan and even sort of in his series against Night Phoenix. It was really cool to see these old school players that haven't been around in a very long time come back and again be a part of StarCraft, be a part of the community, especially Starnan. Like, Starnan, he never touched Legacy of the Void. He retired at the end of Heart of the Swarm, you know? Like, it's been years. It's been so long since Starnan has competed. And when we casted him earlier today against Hearthstone in the PvP, it was impressive. Like, StarNan didn't look too bad. Like, it was really cool to see him competing again after so long, and yeah, in certain aspects able to hold his own against Hearthstone. So really cool stuff, and I don't expect to see more of sort of in StarNan. I'm pretty sure they only played in this tournament just because they're local and because they're of course living in Sweden, and there was a StarCraft event in Sweden. But it was a blast from the past. It was really cool to see them being active once again, and who knows, maybe we see a little bit more from them in like some online cups or some weeklies, or yeah, maybe another event, maybe a qualifier for ESL Masters, you know? Maybe this like re-sparks interest in them and they want to come back. Who knows? Unlikely, but possible. Definitely possible. So we'll be keeping my eye out for them. We'll be definitely keeping my eye out. And yeah, with that, GG, well played. We have now wrapped up Group A here. Group A for the open brackets, and we do intend to go over Group B, Group C, and Group D. There are of course 4 groups in total, and if you want to check out the bracket, you can check it out on Wikipedia. Be aware, there are spoilers on Wikipedia because these were played out over the weekend, but a lot of the matches were not broadcasted, so we want to go over them. We want to experience them for ourselves. That is the goal here on the CranKy Ducklings. And we're probably going to make this a weekly broadcast for the group stage, just because we have to squeeze in so much more. There's a lot of other tournaments going on, like World Team League and Kung Fu Cup and the ESL Open Cups. NA Apprentice was just announced for another season, and we're also going to be casting some NA Apprentice. So we're going to be squeezing in some ESL Masters casts whenever we can, and we're going to keep it at least once a week, maybe twice a week. So yeah, if you're interested in more of the open bracket, in more of this group stage, then we will be covering them later on next week, as we are going to be done here for tonight. Our next broadcast, if you want to follow the CranKy Ducklings, is going to be tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be live with World Team League. WTL did take a week break. Did take a week off because of DreamHack, but now that DreamHack has concluded, World Team League has returned, and who is playing tomorrow? Let's quickly double check. Let us double check. Tomorrow is going to be Starlight Twinkle versus Abydos and the Platinum Heroes versus Berserker Esports. Some pretty close matches, to be honest. I think I'm going to be looking forward to Platinum Heroes versus Berserker the most. Do we have lineups? We do. Oh, let's go! We have lineups. Vindicta's playing. It's going to be Goblin versus Dimaga, Vindicta versus Spats, and DNS versus Mixu. Oh, let's go. It's going to be a banger of a Team League match. If you're interested, tomorrow. In 24 hours. Just over 24 hours, we're going to be live here with the World Team League. We also have Abydos versus Starlight Twinkle. It's going to be Cham versus Nightmare, Nice versus Mondo, and Triple H versus DRG. Oh boy. And of course, that's going to be a live broadcast. So if you're a little bit turned off by replay casts, we got you covered with plenty of live casts as well. So again, that's going to be tomorrow for the World Team League. Outside of that, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. ! Socials. If you want links to all of our stuff, we have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, we have an Instagram, we have a YouTube channel and a Discord server, so you can follow us there if you want to be notified for when we go live. Otherwise, follow the channel. Follow us here on the CranKy Ducklings. That is all we do ask. And we even have a Patreon as well, ! Patreon, if you're interested in supporting some of our own tournaments that we run. Again, you don't have to by any means, but we do run regional weekly tournaments or regional bi-weekly tournaments for North America, for Latin America, for Southeast Asia and Oceania. So if you're interested in supporting some of these smaller regions, then you can check us out there on Patreon. We do give out replay packs as well. A lot of replay packs from a lot of what we cast. So we got you covered if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow for some World Team League action. Until then, bye.